Welcome to Hatman Strikes Back Daily Boxing News. So Chris Arreola recently appeared on a panel on the Ring magazine to discuss various boxing-related topics. The subject of his own career came up, and he made a comment which left a lot of people skeptical and also confused. He said that having shared the ring with both Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz, that Andy Ruiz actually hits harder. Now, the response from most people has been, well, there's just no way that Andy Ruiz hits harder than Deontay Wilder. Impossible. Okay, Ruiz has got decent punching power, but he's really a combination puncher who relies on catching you with a number of consecutive shots. He hasn't laid people out with one punch the number of times that Deontay Wilder has. There must be some pro-Mexican bias going on here. That tends to be the response that I've seen to these comments from Chris Arreola. And while I don't dismiss the possibility of some pro-Mexican bias, I don't necessarily think that that's what's behind this comment from Chris Arreola. Terence Crawford recently made a similar comment about Canelo Alvarez. He said that Canelo is not the hardest puncher he's been in there with. And while I find it intriguing, I don't read too much into it for the following reasons. Punching power isn't as consistent as most people tend to assume it is. And what I mean by that is, if you're a talented fighter and you go in against the journeyman who is not only slow of hand and foot, but also hasn't turned up to win, then you're going to be able to load up and hit this guy with full power, basically at will. So that journeyman will feel your full power. He'll be able to attest to how hard you can really hit. But when you get in there with an elite level fighter, all of a sudden he's got the footwork, he's got the feints, he's got sufficient will and skill to nullify your power by rolling with the punches, by using footwork to offset the biting point of your punches. So there's an optimum distance to deliver your punches from so that they land with maximum impact. If you're a little too far away, you catch the opponent at the end of the punch rather than halfway through the punch where the biting point is. You see what I'm saying? When you catch them at the end of the shot, they're not really going to feel your full power. Skillful fighters can have you doing that for the whole 12 rounds. So from the perspective of that skillful fighter, you never really hit that hard. But a more accurate way to look at it is you never managed to hit them that hard. They didn't allow you to hit them as hard as you've hit other opponents. They kept you off balance. They kept messing with the range, etc. That is what, in my view, Terence Crawford did against Canelo Alvarez. While he did get caught, I don't think he ever got caught the way that, let's say, Sergey Kovalev got caught by Canelo Alvarez. He never got caught that clean, where Canelo completely had his feet underneath him, was able to load up and deliver with absolute maximum power. Terence Crawford never got caught like that. And so, like I say, from his perspective, Canelo didn't hit that hard. But in my opinion, it's because he didn't allow Canelo to land on him the way that he landed on some other opponents in the past. Another thing to bear in mind is that throughout the course of a fight, your power is going to change. Not every right hand you throw or left hook you throw is going to have the exact same amount of power on it. Some are going to be harder than others. And generally, especially if it's a physically taxing fight, your power in the 12th round is not going to be as powerful as your power in the first round. It might still be enough to knock somebody out in the 12th round, especially since your opponent is likely to be tired as well. And fatigue affects your punch resistance, right? But like I say, the opponent might feel that your power is diminishing throughout the course of a fight. That might embolden them to engage with you more. But bringing it back to Chris Arreola and his comments about Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz, specifically, Deontay Wilder suffered some type of serious hand or arm injury in the Arreola fight. And it weren't an excuse for what was a relatively lackluster performance. No, because he actually had major surgery in the immediate aftermath of that fight. If you're carrying that kind of injury or you get that kind of injury in a fight, your subsequent punches with that hand are probably not going to be delivered with full power. Okay? And so I don't think Chris Arreola, I suspect at least Chris Arreola, isn't trying to be dishonest here. I just think it's the case that he never really experienced Deontay Wilder's full power. He was in there against the Wilder, in my view, who was holding back because he was injured, because he didn't want to worsen that injury. Maybe there was tremendous pain there. Whereas when he fought Andy Ruiz, he fought an Andy Ruiz who was firing on all cylinders. And I say that regarding his punching power, not necessarily regarding his overall game. Also, I'm not sure if Arreola and Andy Ruiz have sparred together in the past. They might have done. If they have, then again, that will give Arreola a much better gauge of Andy Ruiz's power than he has of Deontay Wilder's power. Now, as an observer, who's obviously never taken a punch from either Deontay Wilder or Andy Ruiz, thankfully, I think that Deontay Wilder hits harder than Ruiz, significantly harder. But it's only with one particular punch, the straight right hand. And he isn't always landing that shot, as I've already explained, as consistently on every opponent or as cleanly on some opponents as he is on others, right? Anyway, those are my thoughts. Give me yours in the comment section below. What do you make of Chris Arreola and Terence Crawford's recent comments? Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.